Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Oh, hello, hello, hello. Alright, today I am going to be implementing the new SDL 3 version. A bunch of the API has changed since I last used it, so I'm pretty much going to be rewriting all my audio code in my game. And it's kind of due for a rewrite anyway, because I made it a bit messy. I'm a bit tired from working all day, so forgive me if I go through this rather slowly. And it takes a while for me to wrap my head around all this. So a bunch of the functions have actually changed their name, so I actually don't have the old code in front of me, but if I did, I could show you what I mean. Oh well. What I'll do though is I will start by just creating a audio object that does nothing. Because this is a kind of a separate system to most of, or kind of the rest of my engine, I want to keep the implementation contained, and if I can start with a blank audio and just define its API, then that will be a good starting point if I want to compile it without audio for some reason, or if I'm kind of switching to a different platform or audio API, then at least I have something to start with, and then I can define the implementation depending on the platform or depending on what I want to use, etc. So I'll start with just creating an empty audio class, maybe a virtual class with a bunch of empty methods in it. But before I do that even, I just want to go through and see in my game where I'm calling the functions, because I might just define part of the API here in case the audio, so I have the audio class here in case I want to tap into other parts of the game engine from here. So might even start by doing that. So we'll go, I think these will be the main ones. So we'll go this, I'll keep that name. We'll just prefix them all with audio. So things like shuffle, that might need a random generator, a bit of RNG, and I do have a class for that here, random. Well, this is very, very lightweight, but just still using this means that I guess we don't need to create a bunch of different random, instantiate a bunch of random functions with however I was doing it before. I forget the random device. Yeah, I'm gonna, oh, okay, I forget what I did there. So I'll just go through and everywhere I have game.audio, I'm just going to replace that with game.audio underscore. Okay, let's try that. Game audio, da 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 da. Okay. Replace. Save them all. Just verify that. Yep. So now that we have these, and I might just make them all in line for now. Now the audio device, this is where I need to start with my virtual class. So let's just get to my code. And we'll just have a base class called audio, and we'll create one called audio SDL, and this will be the SDL version of the audio. What did I have here? Yeah. Just going to put these, I have a bunch of IDs for the various sounds and music. Just put those back. Cool. And I'll just put these in here for now. Oh. Sorry, I'm just going to tidy up some of this. Just have a list of file names. So I'll define the, at least write out the header function. And the audio.h, blah blah blah, into an anonymous namespace, just so we're not kind of, I forget why I did this, maybe so there was no chance of it like colliding with definitions in the header files. if that would ever happen. I don't know, I'm still getting used to C++. Now I'll just tidy up some old files here. Whoops. So we'll do our virtual class, but I will give it a default implementation. It will just be empty. So if I can just remember how to do that. How do I do virtual? There. So we'll make all these virtual. Wait. Do I need to do virtual? Right, we'll just see what happens. So we'll make all these virtual and we'll make them do nothing. Not entirely nothing. Some do need to return a value. Probably don't need those. So there's that. Now we have our audio class which has nothing in it. And what I'll do is forward all our functions here onto it. Double sound, play sound, whoops. Let's see how easy this will be. See if we can do it all at once. There. So there's all that, and then there might just be some additional functions, but those are already being called. Okay. So let's see if that compiles. No. Audio plays. Okay, I'm just not passing some of these. Use it and oh, okay. Oops. Just got to. Get rid of some of this old junk, which I've kept in here. Blah, blah, blah. Yes, I should delete all these actually. Yep, let's delete it all. Oops, just gotta import something here. Oops. What was I including here? SDL3 mixer. Whoops. It's another constant I've accidentally killed. Whatever. A lot of these are probably not part of the API anymore, I'm not sure. Play sound. Okay, I think I just am missing a function. Oh. Audio play sound. So I have a random, what is this? Just passing random console commands. I guess I have one for playing sounds. Okay, now let's see if it compiles. Yay! So here's the game with no sound. The sound and music to stay off. I can't toggle them on or off. And it looks like all those virtual functions are being called. I forget what happens when you extend a class whose functions are not virtual. I think you just end up with two functions which are different. Which is a bit of a nightmare. I think that's how you end up with the diamond problem. So here's our base audio class, and that will be a nice thing to have there. Although if we actually want the sound, we should make an SDL implementation. So we'll go here's SDL audio 1. Should we, if not def it? Oh, I don't think it matters. We'll put this up here. So if we want to switch out our implementation, we can go if this is 1, else SDL. And we'll do it here as well. If this is 1, else, and if so that's one way of just swapping it in and out, which will be fine for our purposes. So we'll just set this to 0. Let's see if we've done that correctly. Okay. Actually, if we were very sneaky, we could go define audio club. We'll go CC for chicken cave. And we just stood up. Yeah, there's a lot of warnings. I should tidy all that up later. Okay. What we could do as well is, I don't know enough about compilers, but we could mark them all as const expression. Which I don't understand const expression very much. Other than it can, if it's deterministic, the compiler can inline it if it wants, but it doesn't always want to. And it's also I think it implies it in line too, so that, I don't know if the compiler would just inline this itself because it's a single line. I don't know. It's a confusing language. Anyway, we'll set this to 1 because we want to use our new implementation, which we will do here. And we'll use the base class just to make sure that we're implementing the class correctly. What was I doing? Including the mixer. No, gotta change that default. So here are the functions that we want to implement. Don't know if I need to define them here or not, or if I can just go straight to implementing them in the C++ file. But I'll just put them in here. Okay, also we need to inherit it. We'll go final. Const final override. So what was override again? I think that just makes sure we're overriding something. And not defining a new function. Like, it stops us from just making random new functions which don't exist. If we put the keyword override, then the compiler expects that we're actually overriding something. So I think it's just a safety thing. Let's see if we can override those in here though. So we'll go through all these and we'll just override. So apologies for the mess. So go through them all and we will go, what was it called? Final override. So final meaning we can't override it anymore in any more children, which this might do already, I forget. Let's just go through and do it anyway. So here's our overridden class, and we'll just see if it compiles first before we continue. Audio SDL. Dun, dun, dun. Not yet. Field type audio is an abstract class. Oops. Do I need to define them all? Oh, yeah, I probably need to define them all in the header. Otherwise, other things using the class won't know if it's virtual or not. So yeah, I actually do need to define these. Whoops. No, I'll just do it manually. Bool final override. And let's see if it works now. Do I need to mark the... Oh my god, I'm overriding the wrong body class here. That's dumb. I see, so the final override is fine, it's just reserved for the header files. Cool, so we got our new audio class, which again does nothing but is overriding the stuff correctly. And you'll see that audio SDL to string, I think we actually need to define this in order to use it. So I could mark this as not virtual, and I think then this would work. Oh no, it won't. What happens if I remove this? It should be nothing, but that's fine. Oh, okay. So let's go ahead and start implementing SDL3. So there's a library first called mix init. This must be called once before anything else can be used. Okay. False on error. It's safe to call this multiple times. It will only initialize once and won't initialize until mix quit has been called a matching number of times. So we want to make sure we don't call this more than once, because then mix quit won't actually quit. So we'll go mix initted. In fact, we'll make the initialize step and create mixer device in one. Because if we can't create the mixer, if creating the mixer fails, then we might want to just stop initialization. So let's go mix initted. We'll just do a constructor. Actually, why don't we just do this? This would be easier. But we do want to destructure because in the destructurer we want to close. Bool mix init. And in fact, in the close function, we can probably implement this now. We'll just go if mix initted, then we will mix quit. Which returns void. And I do want to check something because I think mix quit doesn't actually quit audio, the audio completely, because SDL mixer I'm pretty sure just piggybacks off of the the main SDL audio system. So you want to actually DNet everything. Whoops. I've forgotten how to write a destructor. Right. No. So that seemed to compile. So you want to mix init, and after we've done that, create a mixer with create mix device. Yeah, just call it a mixer. And we'll initialize it to null. So in init, now what I'm actually going to do is init, I'm not immediately going to init the sound. I'm going to do it in the after render function. So that function's called when I'm done rendering graphics to the screen. And between rendering and the next tick of the game loop, I have a window that's like a good window of opportunity for doing slow stuff like loading files, and in this case initializing the sound. So that's a good place to sneak in the kind of I/O heavy code. It's between after you finish rendering and waiting for the next tick of the game loop. So I want to initialize the audio in after render. And I'm just trying to work out how I'll do that. Make some request toggles, so the init actually gets called with the desired settings. So do we want to start with sound on? Yes. Or do we want to start with music on? Yes. And we'll consume those request toggles in the after render function. So here we are toggling the sound. Whether or not the sound is actually on or off, I'll need to work out. I guess just once you have a mixer, you can, I guess once I have a mixer is when I'll know that the sound is working or not. So is sound on, is music on? Good question. First, I should actually do the part which I think what the easiest thing will be is I'll just have a bunch of booleans. Oh. Sound on, sound on. So am I gonna turn this on and off? So the sound toggle, we'll start the sound as off. Is sound on. How will I tell if the sound's on or off? How should I control this? Is sound on, is music on, sound on, music on. I think we'll just have to make some assumptions. So this will do a pardon me. Oh no, that's okay. I think it'll just have to be a bit implicit. I'll have these booleans which are sound on, music on, but it's not necessarily on. It's more like it's desired to be on. And we'll have to do something a bit annoying here, but we'll go sync mixer with I'll just call it sync mixer, and we'll pass the console in. Destructor, not destructure. What am I thinking? Private methods. So the sync mixer will basically take the booleans that we have is going to initialize our mixer. So if sound on or music on, so if we want anything to be on, and then if our mixer is null, then that's where we want to initialize it. But if both our things are off, but we have a mixer, so go null pointer, then that's where we want to close the sound. And in fact, close could just be, instead of that, why don't we just do this? We'll keep as much of the stuff into sync mixer as possible, just to make it easier. And mix and knit, we may as well mix quit if we can't initialize. Otherwise we'll have initialized the audio subsystem and it won't actually be used at all. So we're going to mix and knit. So mixer is currently off. Turn on SDL mixer. True and success, false and error. So for errors, do we still want to quit the subsystem? I'm not sure. What happens if a subsystem's already quit? Shut down a specific subsystem. Init subsystem. So what you might find is in the SDL3 code, destroy mixer. If this mixer was created with mix correct mixer, the function will also close the audio device and call SDL quit subsystem. Oh, what? Pardon me. Create mixer. Destroy mixer. So I actually don't need to touch any of the underlying SDL stuff then. I think I can just do this. And it's void, so that is fine. Close the mixer. We'll also close the SDL audio subsystem for us. It's pretty handy. Oh. Now mixer net, let's just put a little link to that here. Turn on SDL mixer, and let's just check the header file. So it might give us a bit more information. Where's fixing it? Never mind. Mix init. So I guess mix quit will I'm guessing mix quit's gonna call. We'll close the audio subsystem. It won't be through destroy mixer alone. I might need to check that later. So mixer net, sync mixer, and just put that here. Ensure our mixer is up to date with audio, current audio settings. And is sound on and is music on will just be, we can assume they're on, I guess, once our mixer is created. So we can do that. So call SDL get error. Returns a, I think that's just going to return a C string. Let's log that. Mix init error. Error. Fatal. What have I done? What's fatal? Oh, I make that visible. That's what it does. Oh, maybe if the audio is not working, the person kind of needs to know about it. So I think I'll make that fatal. And I believe I don't need to call these. Quit. I'll just put the quit function down here. Mix an error, so I probably don't need to call anything there. Just put a link to these functions. So create our mixer device. Device ID. Wherever that is. Audio format to request for the device. Let's have a look. Do we have a particular format we want to request? Channels, frequency. Guess it depends on what sounds I have. Like my sound files, which I have no idea what they were. I may have had this setting in my previous code. I'll just check. No. Spec. So I did have an audio spec before. And a device, actually. I'll just put those in here. Now, what were they? We had channels 2. Makes sense. Device frequency 441. Format float 32. Use custom. Don't know what that is. Go device information. Custom. Device format, don't know why I've put the word custom. Device format, device channels, device frequency, so I'll put that in there. And we could even just do it inline. Save some lines of code. So create our mixer device, and now that will return null if it fails. So we'll go, if it's null, we'll again just log the error. Obviously it's an error, so I'll remove the word error. Create our mixer device, and now here's where I'm not sure if I want to quit. Probably want to mix quit. To do some cleanup. But it's whether or not I should also close the audio system. So you see destroy mixer calls quit subsystem. Destroy. Quit. It's whether that destroy mixer. It's whether or not it calls in mix quit as well, which I want to know. So mix destroy mixer. See if we can find the implementation of that. Stop all tracks, free, quit subsystem. It does call it. Okay. SDL free. Is this anywhere else? Create mixer device. So if this fails, it just goes ahead and quits it anyway. This is interesting. Does that mean I need to reinitialize? Right, it's still on it. Does that mean I need to call mix init again if this fails? See what mix quit actually does. Oh. Oh yeah, I want to quit the subsystem. If I can. Let's mix it. We'll see what mix init does. Create mutex. There's that counter I was talking about quitting only after calling initialize, calling as many times as initialize has been called. I wish this was more obvious. Mix quit. Quit decoders. Destroy mutex. So what's quit decoders do? Available decoders quit. Yeah, I probably want to quit. Mixer initialize. let's see where this, if this is only incremented in mix and knit. Okay. So mix and knit is not actually initializing SDL audio then. It's just initializing its own stuff in anticipation of SDL audio. So whatever decoders are, SDL, where are the decoders? What are they? And do I want to keep them around? Or do I want to quit? Let's get two things turning on and off here at the moment. Okay, it looks like I don't need to worry about the SDL audio though. All I need to make sure is I'm calling init and quit. With the correct number of times. So if this fails, quit. And we'll say we assume mixer is currently off. Whatever the decoders are, it's probably not even that. It's probably nothing and I'm just being an idiot. Decoder, init, decoder, quit. I guess we'll don't need the decoders around. Yeah, sorry this is taking so long. So what do we do after mixer is initialized? Well, let's actually see if we can run this first. Whoops. No. Create mixer device. Okay, what have we here? Audio device ID, audio spec, pointer, audio spec pointer, okay. I'll just get device specs. Spec. So we actually need to give it a pointer. Audio device ID, dev ID. Device specs. sync mixer, and we just need to call this with our console. Oh. I don't really want to do a try catch. Sync mixer. We'll just do another close mixer. Close the mixer, and then we'll go turn those off. So if mixer's on, close mixer. Oops. Cool. What we'll do now, sound offensive. So that's staying off, but what we'll do so we'll see if we can toggle them on. It's actually not toggling. You can see there was a short delay, there's a short pause there, so something was definitely initializing and making it lag. Oop. Don't know what that was. Dwayne, it just flashed on. Okay. Is sound on? Should refresh setting. Main search, let's see, work out the menu. audio sound. I guess the audio only turns on after the game starts because of my because I'm doing it in the after render function, but I think this menu is constructed before the render, so I'll sort that out later. So here's our device, and toString is something that we want to do as well, so I'll get rid of this. So toString, we want to implement a debug string so we can see information about the current audio and whether it's on or off. So we'll go mixer, maybe just audio description. Clear. So when we close the mixer, we obviously want to clear the string. And we'll just, it will probably just be a string we calculate once. In fact, we'll go string output equals audio description, and we'll say if there's a description, then we'll assume that we have initialized the mixer. Otherwise, we will just return empty. But we'll see how we can get information about our mixer first. So something about getting properties, audio decoder properties, don't know what that is. Get, it'll probably be get non-audio decoders. That could be right. Get mixer properties, we'll do that. we'll go calculate audio description. So I'll just do it here. Calculate the whole thing in one go. So calculate audio description. The first thing we will do is check if there's a mixer. Output. Let's go. Let's start with the number of decoders. Get num audio decoders. And what we'll do whenever a change is done with the mixer, the sync, well, with the mixer. Right. We want to recalculate this. Call it refresh. Oh, I'm already doing that there. Refresh, mix quit, refresh. Whenever something eventful happens, or you want to refresh. See what happens. Decoders. We should probably convert that to a string. We'll go decoders 9. Okay. So it's decoders. The next thing we will do is get mixer properties. Property ID. What's the property ID? Whatever. and its output format. May as well get that information. So if mixer is not null, audio spec mixer get format. If else, I don't know what to do. Specs. What's in audio spec actually? What is it again? Format channels frequency. So let's do that. Freak. Now I have a function for this already. SDL audio format, get format name. Format channels frequency, which is a integer as well. Oops. Frequa. Okay, let's see if that works. Whoops. Alright, so we've got our audio. So sound off, music off, decoder's -1. And when we turn it on, it goes back up to 9. Cool, so it looks like we're using it correctly. So there's our audio description. If we cannot, if this errors, I don't know what to do. Ignore to do, add to the description. We'll go like, we'll at least put something. Air. May as well put something. So SDL get error, I'm imagining is the error. We can see if it errors actually. We can force an error, probably if we put a null pointer. Error, parameter spec is invalid. Yep. That is the error apparently. An error. Okay. Um, so once we've created our mixer, I guess the next thing to do is to actually load sounds and music into it. Which I think I'll do that later. So sure. So that is that's probably all I'm going to do this stream. Took me an hour and a half to write, I don't know, 100 lines of code. What I'll probably do though is I have sound and music. So I imagine you load or you can load the sound, or maybe you stream the music. Whether or not you stream from the file itself, or like stream from memory through a decoder for, say, an MP3, I'm not sure. I need to find out. But you will load the sounds in. These will queue them up by ID, and I have a list of IDs in the main audio header file. So sounds like menu, navigate, menu back, these will be the things which are being called by the game code. And then it will be up to the audio SDL file to translate those IDs into various file names which are on disk. So there'll be like a menu navigate.wav file, chickenjump.wav, and it will be up to this code here to make sure those WAV files exist, firstly, and in the correct location. It should also make sure the WAV files are not humongous and actually make sense. Otherwise, people could come in and replace, say, menu navigate with a 100 gigabyte file or something, and we don't even want to attempt to load that because it might crash the game. But assuming the files are all correct and are within a reasonable size, it will load those sounds, it'll queue them up, and then in the after render function, which is the extra time we have between the end of the render and the next frame, we will play those, we'll load those queued up sounds and play them. So we'll queue up the IDs, the game will queue up the IDs in here, it'll have to, say, load the IDs and store them in an appropriate data structure. Could just do like a hash map. So I don't know. Hash map, vector, whatever. And then if it fails to load a file, I probably don't want to keep trying to load that file again every time the ID is queued up. So I want to set some kind of error flag on that particular file. So there'll be some data structure with like audio, mix audio. There's probably like a mix audio pointer. We'll go like bool successful or errored, so we know not to continuously load that file every time we want to play it. The music as well, so the music API is working on a playlist. Firstly, the game will assume that there's music playing at all times, so there'll be a track or two which are queued up in a playlist, and then those are cycled through on repeat. Or it could just be one background sound, like a ambient cave sound, on repeat. But we always assume that there's something playing in the background. So here it'll have to have like the playlist, which will just be ID3, whatever. It'll just be rotating through a vector of IDs. And then like something like next ID pop will like rotate. And it will have to attempt to load the song. So like load song. Now if that fails, I don't know what to do. I could try and skip to the next song and attempt to load the next song and keep skipping until it finds one to load. I actually don't know. Maybe if it fails to load, I can remove the song from the playlist and maybe I just keep removing them until there's none left, in which case it gives up and it turns music off completely. I'll probably do that. I'll probably just keep looping through the stuff in the playlist, and every time if a particular track fails to load, I'll just remove it and try the next one and keep trying until one succeeds. And if they all fail, then I turn off the music system. Although maybe not. I might want to keep the music system on. In case the playlist changes to a playlist where some of the tracks can be loaded. But also that might never happen. We actually don't know. And so then there will be no point keeping it on. I actually don't know. Anyway, that's the plan. I'll probably just I think I'll just error and remove the track. And if there's no tracks left, I'll turn music off, but I'll also show a message. So the player knows there's something wrong with their asset files, and they know something's happened with the music. And I'll still let the user attempt to manually switch the music back on from the options menu. it's kind of tricky to know how to design these things. Anyway, that's it for now, and I will see you next time.